Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show. Today is Monday, October 13th, and we are your place for helpful crypto news, commentary, answers to the questions you might have about what makes cryptocurrency work. And of course, your candles are green because Friday, everyone's candles were big red. Black, you might say. I'm already seeing people call it Black Friday, Alex, but we made it. And I'm curious, first of all, how are you? How was your weekend?
Good. I mean, it doesn't feel like a time to, gloat or say anything. Obviously, nobody saw that coming. But that was something. That was something to behold. I think it's a mark of I don't know what the word I want here is. Anything like that is always a good gut check. So hopefully if you weren't in a great position, we've learned something. Lots of lessons learned, I think, over the weekend.
Yes, and many questions still lingering. Machinery asks, we survived, but are we cooked?
And I think the autopsy will continue for a while. The postmortem on this one is going to be lengthy because it was a lot of bullshit. I mean, there was nothing reasonable about it. None of the chart people, I don't care what anyone says. There's so many this is what okay, perma bears are eventually right. And so there's a lot of that going around right now. But overall, I mean, it was miscommunication apparently, which means it was straight manipulation. Honestly, to the point of, I think, less of a manipulation, more and more speculation now that it was like a coordinated attack based on how several exchanges went through it.
Well, let's back up just a little bit because Mac asks, what's on the agenda today? And to be clear, I think it'd be important for us to, not that anybody needs to not that anybody missed it, but might be helpful to actually separate the fact from the fiction, what we know, what we don't. Because you said earlier, this is impossible to call, but I have seen several people say I called it. And I think we can unpack some of the stuff that happened so that we can, what was callable, what wasn't, that kind of thing. And you're right, it is sort of a badge of honor. We don't have a POAP prepared for everybody having survived Friday, but rest assured that if you made it through an event like this is a big part of your crypto initiation. This is such an early new industry, and things are going to break, and things are more susceptible to when other stuff breaks. But a lot of what makes crypto possible actually didn't break, held up really well. So Alex, do you want me to read people in, or would you like to do the honors of giving the summary of the situation?
No, go for it. I think like you said, the one thing I'll say is I have not yet seen and didn't see anything leading up to it anybody actually call it. So I kind of reject a lot of that. I think if you called that there was going to be that specific of a thing, I'd like to know why you're not a multi-millionaire right now, because you could have been if you knew that was coming. There's the multi-million-dollar question. And it doesn't count if you say that we think this government is going to manipulate the market again, because of course they were, and they will do it again.
Yeah,
because it works real well.
Jay Heat says just more manipulation. Here's what I think, though, is important to understand. There's manipulation happening all the time in the market, all the time, in terms of influential people moving money or exercising power to do things. So just to call it simple manipulation it ignores the reality that actually we can verify a lot of what happened, and we can ascribe a lot of blame to certain particular actors. I'm not saying you're wrong.
It's a good category, but there's we had a real specific flavor on Friday.
That's right. So, and we're finding out in retrospect, this has all been a big misunderstanding, but we'll get to that. Friday.
The $20 billion whoopsies.
Woo! In response to what he thought was China banning an export on rare earth metals, he says, President Trump tweeted about imposing a 100% tariff starting November 1st against China, putting some restrictions on software exports. And as sometimes happens when Donald Trump tweets and there's tariff news or macro news or unrest, the market started to drop. Now, is that a manipulation tactic? It's difficult to say because it's pretty impossible to ascribe a motivation to the president. It is possible that some people knew about what he did beforehand, perhaps. One of the speculative reports I have seen is that before he tweeted, somebody anticipated the market would react poorly to this who knew about it, and that someone with inside information, at least one person, opened up a 92,000 ETH short position on Hyperliquid that netted them hundreds of millions of dollars as the market started to move. Now, here's the cascading effect that causes me at least to say, Alex, that I don't think market makers manipulated this into existence. On Binance specifically, the changing of prices happened so quickly that several assets that people were using to do perpetuals trading with, meaning they were borrowing money from Binance to trade in bigger size than their money allowed them to. Several assets on Binance, because of this movement, they did what's called depegging, which is when a crypto asset's price deviates from the actual price of the asset it's supposed to represent. And in this case, it deviated downward in such a way that caused Binance's order books, their trading engines, to say, wow, the price is really low. Who should get liquidated? When you borrow money to trade on a crypto exchange, you are at risk of something called liquidation, which means if the price moves against the direction you're betting, they take your money off the table and force you to sell your crypto. And because this erroneous price happened, all these people were forced to close their positions. And when something like this happens in the market, in a market where people are using leverage, borrowing a lot of money, and people in crypto, generally speaking, are borrowing a lot of money on a lot of different exchanges, what happens is all of these sales are broadcast everywhere else. And so the price, which is determined broadly by who's selling what for what price right now, starts to go lower. Because as the price moves lower, all these sales are coming in at lower prices. And as all these sales are coming in at lower prices, the prices are moving lower as more people rush to sell. A classic bank run scenario happens where at centralized exchanges, the machines that take your orders or the people on the other sides that facilitate them got overwhelmed. Liquidity, meaning the money at the bank, so to speak, is generally lower at the weekend, but it's been particularly low this last couple of weeks. We've talked about this. Supply on exchanges is low. This creates fear, uncertainty, doubt, and the whole thing is a big flywheel that just moves prices down, down, down. Now, Alex, this is why I say I don't think it's manipulation alone, is because if I was CZ in Binance, sure, I would like to take advantage of liquidating some shorts, but it certainly wouldn't be in my interest to see 3 assets get depegged, to see everyone on my platform around the world mad at me for a mistake that lost all of us a bunch of money in a world where my business reputation is my most valuable asset. I don't think centralized exchanges could have predicted and therefore would not have pushed us to move in that direction. Maybe they did it in an unanticipated way, but what remains to be proven is that it was ill-intentioned by, Donald Trump or CZ or anybody like that. What is definitely true is that they messed up in terms of their exchange engines. Do you have anything else to add in terms of clarity for questions I'm seeing come in include like, why did every asset drop when only a couple assets were affected or only a couple exchanges were affected? And I certainly haven't touched yet on the part about how there were many traders on many platforms who got big time liquidated, even DeFi platforms, which worked better. I don't know where you want to take it next, but I feel like that's a good sort of summary of what happened. Macro news, exchanges failing, price flywheel driving everything lower. Recipe, not just one sort of black swan event, but 2 disasters that really, how could you have predicted? I don't think you could have.
I don't think you could have. Yeah, the interesting pieces, I think, not necessarily. First of all, I don't think CZ gives two shits what the little people think. He's got way too much money to think about that. Look at the bright side. If there's a problem and he can come out and like fix some sort of a problem, whatever, then possible. But some of the interesting postmortems I've seen about this, I was trying to find the tweet because it was a real specific one. It detailed how, and this is of course speculation at this point. Nothing is like said and 100% proven or anything like that, but was that it was like a very specific attack. So the thinking is that whoever that it was masked by tariff news, because if you'll remember, we got 2 tweets, and the first one was sort of speculated initially to be like, oh well, there's the bad news. And it's, I don't know, it would have taken a lot of coordination, right? If we put our tinfoil hats on for a second, you'd have to like have this thing in the chamber ready to go, this exploit that you're going to run to depeg USDE, right?
Yeah, I forgot to mention Athena specifically was one of those assets. USDE. This is a stable coin for Athena. Please continue.
So you'd have to have that ready to go. You'd have to be waiting for something that you might have had some sort of insidery intel was going. And I think that there's plenty of insider information being tossed around with this particular flavor of Congress and administration that we've got. We've seen way too many examples of it. No, you can't look me in the eye and tell me that there's even the slightest chance. It would be the coincidence of a lifetime to see a brand new Hyperliquid account open and on its first day make one trade, well, I guess technically 2 trades, that ended up putting it in profit of what, $192 million between shorting ETH and Bitcoin.
It was nuts.
194 million.
I believe it's 190 something. Yeah, somebody give us the, if you want to ding, give us the total figure.
There is no shot that person just stumbled into that.
I don't know that that's true, that they just stumbled. We've seen crazier things than that. I think you're right, but there's a chance.
30 minutes before that tweet goes out, the mother of all shorts is open. And they made $200 million. There's no way. So then you've got, the different pieces that caused what I've seen a lot, and what I would like to understand deeper, because I don't genuinely, your disclaimer, I don't fully understand the piece I'm about to say, but this is like what I'm trying to read into today. There's been a lot of talk about Oracle problems and price problems, which like caused these crazy wicks to happen, which ended up liquidating people who should never have been liquidated. Because on chain, not enough money, not enough crypto was sold, not enough things were moved to the sell position or value changed on chain to give us a wick that low. A great example of, we've seen like flash crashes before, and almost always when it's that deep, it's not every single asset. It's usually able to point to some sort of a problem. And this definitely sounds like a lot. It's very hard to have this part of the conversation without it sounding like cope, because of course tons of people got liquidated and lots of people are looking for answers and trying to shift blame and make it not their fault for being super leveraged or whatever. But genuinely, like, given how aggressive that wick was and how ridiculous that particular piece of price action was, it seems like a number of protocols owe leveraged traders some sort of a refund because their shit broke. A lot of signs point to like protocol breaks, not chain problems.
But I want to be clear, because sometimes we use this word protocol interchangeably. There is no credible, verifiable evidence that Chainlink or Pyth, the primary decentralized oracles, especially provide for DeFi price engines, failed. Hyperliquid worked great. People lost a lot of money there, but it worked. Something I want to clarify for our one-on-one people is the central exchanges like Binance, they they get information from oracles like Chainlink. What Chainlink, the company, does is they provide information. They bridge information offline, online, and online, offline. Like, the weather. How do you get the verifiable weather that I'm feeling here in Memphis, Tennessee, into a database, and so that you know that it's true, as I experienced it. Whatever. Same thing for price information. And the central exchanges, though, also have their own sort of order books or software it's proprietary, that allows them to facilitate orders between buyers and sellers with the help of their market makers who provide the cash on the other end. And so those systems failed. The DeFi system that does it all with code, I mean, it worked like a champ.
Yeah, and we've seen
verifiably.
We've seen this happen before. The idea where a Web 2 thing failed, where a piece of Web 3 infrastructure succeeded. We've seen it before, notably in the last time that there was the widespread panic about another Solana major outage, when it turns out that Solana itself was fine, but Coinbase and Phantom both broke. And just because that is where 95% of people do 100% of their transacting, everyone just assumed it was the chain. When in reality it was a cluster on Web 2 stuff that got congested. So it seems to be something similar-ish here, but there's just way too many breadcrumbs that are the size of entire loaves that were okay, World Liberty Finance, their token price cratered before everything else. Dropped 30%, before everything else, which to me is hey, we're about to do something insane is about to happen. I need some liquidity right now to do the thing. Sell. Athena's a huge piece, right, of World Liberty Finance's little portfolio. I'd have to look at Arkham again to see what the breakdown is, but I feel like I remember seeing them as a ton. Are you just incredibly... Oh, did we lose Evan? I think we did. Sure do.
Is it StreamYard?
I don't know. I'm still in there. Just all right. Yeah, that was an interesting one. Sorry about that. I sort of assumed that Evan's internet just cut out or something, but anyway. Yeah, we'll be back to the normal. The sound quality probably got a little. Anyway, while I cover as Evan goes to see which kitten shoot through his internet. Where was I? Oh, yeah. So we just basically had this instance where World Liberty Finance, they kind of price cratered beforehand, which is suspicious. A number of the assets held in that basket correspond to assets that behaved suspiciously or had something happen to it during this whole, Black Friday deal. And then, once the dominoes start falling, liquidations can cascade like crazy, as they say. And, one thing leads to a bigger problem, 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 so on and so forth. No Evan on YouTube. Yep. He will be right back. And I'm stalling until he gets back. Anyway, hindsight is 2020. Again, nobody saw this particular exact thing coming at this time, except for whoever made $200 million. And really, when instances like that happen, just because these things have been and can be manipulated, that's why I say foul play. We'll see. I would imagine that more and more and more information is going to continue to come out, even if we don't do anything to hold anybody actually accountable on the Web 2 side. I think the Web 3 side will identify culprits and hopefully make some decisions and some adjustments. I think that we as an industry, we got very excited about recognition and, you know, things going more mainstream and, you know, bigger, more expensive eyeballs looking at the space and validation from specific sources that we thought had the power to, you know, move the needle more and make all of us rich. We allowed way too many really shady things to become like commonplace in our house because we thought that ultimately it would end up paying off. And who cares if we're all multimillionaires? And not only is that not the case, but now, you know, major pieces of this industry, of this thing, of this world that we have been building for years are compromised. And it's really unfortunate. I would hope that if anything else, this is the great impetus to like focus on the DeFi a little bit more and to care a little bit less about what giant bank CEO is saying out of one side of their mouth while figuring out how to screw you over on the other side. So I don't know. I'm kind of it makes me sad because at the end of the day, what ultimately we're left with from an outside perspective is just further proof that like this whole thing is nonsense. And that's really unfortunate because yet again, it was Web 2 corrupt, centralized nonsense that caused the biggest problems, and the decentralized Web 3 piece of all of this is the only thing that kept anything together. But that's not the story that's going to get told to the biggest number of people. I mean, as far as I can tell, I'm still in it and it's still streaming. You can't get back in? Okay. Thank you. The great emphasis. No worries. Yeah. While we wait for Evan, I'll take a couple of questions. Let me scroll back a little bit. I know there was a few questions about transferring different kinds of crypto. Yeah, Aiden asked how much damage was done to the crypto industry and who does it benefit? You know, I think unfortunately it does do some damage to the crypto industry. Fortunately, maybe this is a little bit of cope, but nothing that we can't come back from. I think that a lot of damage has been done this entire year to the crypto industry just based on how aggressively politics and big money has become involved, and big money is involved because the potential to turn big money into gargantuan money very quickly just exists here. So of course it was inevitable, right? I mean, we've been speculating about institutions arriving for a very long time. They obviously were always going to show up because the allure was just way too great. Been here a lot longer than people think because they were just silently making money in the background. There's lots of examples of that. Jamie Dimon famously is constantly telling everyone who will listen to him that this is all a scam. And then on the back end, sending letters to his biggest investors telling them, you guys got to check this Bitcoin thing out. So does it do damage to the industry? Yes. Yes, it does. Is it irreparable? No, it's not. We have a lot of work to do. And a lot of that just comes from the story. I mean, we sound like a broken record, but a lot of it just comes from the way that you present all of this to people. Because the sad fact is that the ability to manipulate, the ability to scam, the ability to steal exists here. And it's easier than in a lot of other places just because of the velocity that all of this technology adds to money. And when you make something complicated and also increase the speed at which you can do it, and also reduce the guardrails at which you can do the thing very quickly. That's a recipe for malice, monetary malice.
Monetary malice.
Good deal. All good.
Alex, I'm back.
He's back.
Thank you very much, my friend. Sorry about the disruption.
Here, you're good. You're good on TikTok. You're not good on StreamYard.
I will absolutely die on this hill.
Now you are. Let's see. I don't know, man.
I have some very small kittens that are attempting to make my Wi-Fi better, but failing at it. That's mostly what's happening right now. This is a Wi-Fi problem that is solved, that is explained by kittens. So my apologies.
We're just gonna do our best. I would say that if it happens again, we just port over and we just do full TikTok.
Okay, yeah, everybody. It's the market manipulators trying to take us off the air and keep you from getting good information. If this happens again and you're listening live, then join us on TikTok. If this is you listening on the podcast, so sorry. We love you. You got to deal with it for a minute. It's the kittens.
Eddie says, fake radio show, guys. It's true. You guys got to remember that this whole thing is nonsense.
You know, when we have like all our, I just have boxes in my room, man, from some of the upgrade stuff we're getting for the show. And when we get like a spaceship of a production and then that happens, I'm going to be like, well, we fooled you. It's still a fake radio show.
I don't know if I've ever told this particular story, but a very brief story this kind of thing makes me think of is, so my father is a practitioner of the martial art known as Kendo, to the point where when he was at Yale, actually, he founded the Yale Kendo Club. No idea if it's still going, but he founded it. And yes, he could beat you up, particularly if armed with bamboo. But in Kendo, you wear armor. And of course, you know, going back to the beginnings, the origins of the martial art, there are ceremonies that are performed around the armor and blessings, put the armor on to take the armor off, all that sort of stuff. Fun fact, putting it on is called donning and taking it off is called doffing. There you go.
Nice.
Many people have heard the word to don something, but have you heard about doffing it? Because can't have one without the other. Anyway, there was this guy who was in one of the Kendo clubs that my dad was in, and he had this white armor. They called him the White Knight, and it was like really expensive and like very beautiful and, you know, all original, and he got it from somewhere, whatever. And this dude sucked at Kendo. But he was really in it for love of the game, and he would spend so much time doing the full armor ritual to put the whole thing on and get it all, you know, ready and set up and whatever, and get in there, and then he would just get his ass handed to him, get eliminated extremely early, and then spend this entire process of taking the whole thing off again. And so I often think of, you just got to do it for the love of the game. That guy was so happy and he didn't care at all, and he was just doing what made his heart happy. And you know what? Good for him. Good for him. So that's us. We are we are that. We're getting fancier and fancier armor, but it's still a fake radio show at the end of the day. So sorry about that.
And we will not doff it.
No.
Donning.
No.
Donning all the way through.
Keep doing this. At this point, we've been doing it for so long, I don't know what else to do with myself. So you're stuck with us.
Yes. We did have a couple of questions coming in that I'm keeping track of, but the first one I want to know about is, will the short be investigated? Do we know? And maybe in that question, Alex, is we have heard from some of the exchanges, including Binance, whose machinery and software did fail, that they are exploring or will make users whole somehow.
Yeah.
What about the short?
Should it be? Absolutely. Will it be? I don't have an overabundance of faith. I hope so. And I think honestly that even if like it's not by anyone in a true position of authority, that people like Zach XBT will offer some sort of insight and clarity. I think that people like him, I think him and people like him will be the ones who ultimately tell us the most helpful information about whatever it was. Because I mean, like I said, all we have right now is speculation. At the end of the day, though, I was seeing it's important to note just one or two things that I've also seen, just because a lot of this is nonsense, and you can kind of start to parse out people who are full of shit based on this. For example, I have limit orders set to buy, particularly Solana, but I have them for Bitcoin and I have them for Ethereum as well.
This is going to be my next question to you, Alex, was did you buy anything? So
yeah,
perfect.
I did, but many of those limit orders never filled, because even though the price on paper, and by that I mean on our screens, wicked down, no one was buying anything at those levels. It's not like there was trading happening at that price. There was no liquidity to be buying and selling things in those snapshots at that price, just because you have a limit order set with a price. So like Solana, what was the ridiculous Solana wick on some platforms was like down to 137. I have buy orders at 150, 130, 100, 90, 150, 130, 100, 90. I think those are the only ones that I have. And none of those filled.
Yeah.
And so you can sniff out bullshit real quick if you're following someone who's telling you that they had limit orders set at those prices and they filled, and this is why you set them. It's good to have them, but wicks like this do not fill them.
Now, I will say, it is possible that somebody's wick
possible
filled and not
it's
yours.
possible, but the ingredients are like very specific.
Yeah.
And just because the price on the screen does not or goes down like that doesn't mean that there's liquidity to support buying and selling at those levels. It also doesn't mean that the exchange where you put the order on is actually going to work, because more often than not, and we saw this happen, they all start struggling as soon as things get like that. So I don't remember exactly how long prices sat down at those levels, but like very, very quickly. Do they turn to market orders? No. They say, why don't they fill? No liquidity. So it's just a good thing. It's worth some questions. Like Evan said, it's possible that someone's orders fill, but it requires a seller at that point. And if they linger, then you could market buy like on exchanges, but like more often than not, you're going to face congestion issues. Transactions will hang. We saw that happen, right? We were listening to people talk about Arbitrum and base transactions hanging during the insanity as
yes.
There was the attempt to move stable coins. And sorry, I heard a dog and I thought it was mine, but different dog.
Somebody else's dog. Get your dog, boy.
Not my problem. Anyway, go for it.
The liquidity thing. I just wanted to give an example for our one-on-one people. This is different. Like, imagine you are standing at a well of water waiting to get a drink, and everybody in line has got a pot to fill. That's like your limit order. And there may be 10 feet of water in this well. There may be 10 inches of water in this well. There might be a gallon. There might be a cup. And different wells, different exchanges have different rules about who gets to dip their pot in first. Some people, it's like first come, first serve. You were in line. Your limit order was first. Come on in. Other exchanges serve smaller orders first. Other exchanges, they whatever they do, it's opaque and transparent to us. They may have different math for different scenarios, but you cannot meet the needs of every person who has a limit order set, who's got a pot, if your well doesn't have enough water in it. That's what we're talking about here. And in this case, the water is the money that they and their market making partners put up on the other side of trades. A lot of times, as you might imagine, there's not a perfect buyer for every seller, especially in times like this when pretty much everybody wants to sell. Like nobody was at that time rushing in going, let me buy this. Eventually there would be. So what happens is there are people who are like, well, I've got a lot of water in my backyard. These are market makers. people who are contracted by the exchange to earn a small cut of the transaction fee to provide the liquidity to make sure that when there is a buyer, when there is a seller at a particular price, they have a seamless experience of being able to fill their pot. They don't have to stand there and wait for it to rain. So I hope that helps. I'm stealing my own analogy. I got to write that one down. So Alex's orders might have been not filled, but maybe his orders were bigger than someone else at an exchange or at a protocol where, the price temporarily, whatever. And on a DeFi protocol, it probably happened more seamlessly because.
Well, and two, one of the examples of of a transaction firing on chain, but not necessarily on its Web 2 interface, whatever exchange that might be. Like if you see, we've seen this before, right? We've seen Coinbase's handling of Solana transactions be broken while on the back end Solana was doing what it was supposed to do, but the piece of Coinbase that interacts with it was not working properly, just as one example. It's also possible that while price is moving that aggressively, slippage just isn't high enough.
Oh, that's a good point.
Because you have automatic slippage getting set on these things that you can't change. You can't edit your slippage on centralized exchanges more often than not. I actually can't think of a time when I've seen that be an option for me, but I don't really do a lot of buying there anymore. So maybe that's changed. However, on a decentralized exchange where you could edit that sort of thing, it's more likely that something gets filled because you allow yourself to fluctuate a little bit more aggressively than what a centralized exchange is going to let you do, which would result in transactions just getting hung, meaning they're attempted and then they ultimately fail.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that an exchange is going to let you see how they do it. Someone asked, how do they do this? Where can I see how they do this? A centralized exchange has got their own kind of secret sauce. And it might be in their facts, FAQs, their supporting documentation, but I don't think unless you work there, they're going to reveal it to you entirely. I think you kind of got to piece it together from people who have talked about how these things work. A DeFi exchange, on the other hand, will absolutely give you the entire documentation. Everything they do is run on pieces of computer code called smart contracts that they will almost certainly post links to in the document section of their website, or that anybody with a little know-how can go look up on a blockchain explorer. And we've got videos about that, don't we, Alex? Got to know the blockchain explorer.
100%.
So did you answer the question, are we cooked while it was gone?
Kind of. Yeah, I mean, no. Is it bad? Yes. Is it irreparable? No. I think it's just like, this isn't the final nail in anybody's coffin. It is a nail. It's unfortunate. But I mean, I think the warning signs for like the problem that we are kind of creating by welcoming with open arms so much aggressively centralized institutional power into our house. I think that we are going to continue to recognize the ramifications of doing that for a while. Probably more stuff has to break before we learn our lesson there. Or, the space will fragment and there will be Web 2.5. Run by institutions, and there will always be like fringe DeFi, which is where, the diehards will just continue to live and operate. I made the point a long time ago that one of the coolest things about this whole idea of being, and this is probably one of those reasons that lots of the powers that be hate all this stuff. One of the cool things is that if you create a thing in crypto that just gets like co-opted by institutions, and is made to be more centralized and the heavily manipulated, whatever, we have like an infinite number of reset buttons to just like make a new currency, and then everyone who wants to could just move over to that thing, and you can literally do that forever.
Like a fork. Exactly.
Yeah, just keep doing it. Is it ideal? No. Is it possible? Yes. Will it piss someone off? Absolutely.
Oh man, somebody was just asking, so when are we going to start entering positions? When then can we build confidence that the market is going one way or the other? And I think that's the question everybody is trying to answer right now.
Yeah, I think all of this is like an argument for spot, because the thing that is, if you hold all of your positions in spot, meaning you're not like opening leveraged trades, or you're not trading perps or doing all that kind of stuff, which we're going to come back to that in a second. You're just like buying Bitcoin. You're just buying Ethereum. You're buying XRP. You're buying Sol. You're buying whatever it is that you have high faith and conviction in. Opportunities like this present times to buy more at a lower price than you are, routinely seeing traded at, regardless of wherever we are in the market cycle. So that's potentially an opportunity. Nobody who was holding spot really got that hose. You saw your portfolio values go down, but then again, we see that happen all the time in crypto, and they already have recovered substantially. And this is just another reason why you take profit, because you never know what's going to happen. When this happened, I was sitting at like a 60-40 stablecoin asset split. Bought some stuff, whatever. Some of those things that I bought, I've already sold. I was fortunate enough to buy a significant amount of Sol for me, in the high 170s, and we're now back in the high 190s. $20 per Sol. I mean, that's not bad. So, made a couple $100 doing that, which was nice. And I'll do it again. So in that sense, time horizon, overall, I'm still very bullish. I have no clue what's going to happen in the short term, but that's why I just do spot, because I can manage that. I can keep track of. And if I sleep through something catastrophic happening, like my position is still there. It's still the same. And I still have stables and I still have the thing.
Yeah.
So you're protected either way.
I kind of feel like Doug feels. Our friend Doug, shout out, in the comments said, might be a good idea, I'm paraphrasing, to wait until November 1st when we do get a firm yay or nay on tariffs and see how the market reacts. I kind of feel like this event ruined what could have otherwise been October. And
yeah, probably, because
that's okay. But
we're on a knife edge, right? I mean, think about, okay, if you're trying to find answers in charts, we just saw that not be the case for this whole thing, right? Then you see catastrophic news create panic. Whether or not the exploit happened as a result to take advantage of the growing fear and really tip everyone else over the edge to force that lower, or it was something else more nefarious, or it was just a coincidence, or whatever it was, that all happens. People are way more sketched out. Even if then the administration comes out and literally, I mean, I'm not even paraphrasing or being hyperbolic. Literally, they were like, oopsies. Damn, autocorrect got us again. My bad. Sorry, didn't mean to liquidate $20 billion worth of positions on a typo, but that's effectively what they said. Who believes that? I sure don't. So yeah, I would say the potential for the whole thing to just be like, okay, you're right, never mind, guys. I really don't like. Yep, tariffs are back on. Or to say nope, here's the deal. We made a new trade deal, or whatever. It's all I don't know. It's all bullshit, man. That's why I just do spot, because this is so hard to predict. And by that I mean it's impossible. You're gambling with everything, because none of it makes sense. There's nothing logical about any of this stuff. It's just how long do we think it's going to be before the people with enough money to do it again?
Spot also makes it a lot easier to figure out the time horizon thing. This question I flashed from Joe Lynn about, can I enter Sol at 193? If you're looking to turn a quick profit, then right now at 193, there's, up and down and up and down. We're trying to get our footing again. Maybe not. But if you are looking at a longer time frame at the most active, revenuest to user producing blockchain on this blue planet, then yeah, probably it's great to buy at 193. I would be happy to buy Sol at 193 because I am not needing to sell it to go buy groceries tomorrow. I'm good to hang on to that with money that mostly I can afford to let ride up and down and up and down until it goes up again. Is how I feel about it. I would be, remember the other day, it was 3 weeks ago when I totally sold out of my Sol at, I don't know, 215 or something. And I said, I was just I just knew it would come back down. And now it's back down. I could re-enter at that position and feel great about it and be up 10%. Be awesome. So depends on your position. Now, Alex, you said, remind me to come back to leverage. Is that what you wanted to say, is just leverage versus spot?
Yeah, just to say that if nothing else, another thing that I've been inspired to do with this whole thing is to understand leverage more deeply, because I don't trade with leverage, and I understand like the concept, and I know what the textbook definition is, and all that sort of stuff. But Evan, like you were telling me there's different kinds of leverage, there's different kinds of margin, all that sort of stuff, and I just don't really have a lot of experience with it. So I did what any reasonable human would do, and I vibe coded a leverage trading simulator so that I could pretend to leverage trade in a sandbox and experience the whole thing without actually putting any money at risk. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. So it's being added to Blockchain Basecamp, and the next republishing, then all of you guys can also fake trade with different kinds of leverage and different kinds of margin and risk crazy amounts of money to see what happens. And it uses real price data. So you can actually kind of paper trade the assets like in real time as they go. And so I'm on a mission to understand it more deeply and built the thing.
So are you going to give us a little preview, or are you just teasing us?
Well, it was mostly going to be that, but I can pull it up.
No. You can tease us. It's okay. If people want to check it out and try it and drive through it themselves and don't just want to watch Alex do it or hear him talk about it, then you should get into the Rise Up community. And I'll give a commercial for the community while you pull it up if you want to. You don't have to. I do kind of want to see it though. And that's rare that I want to see the tax app. Basecamp. If you want to see Blockchain Basecamp, which is so much more than a tax app, if you have a question that we don't answer on the show, listen, if you've been scammed, I saw someone in the comments, shout out user, I'm so sorry to hear about this. We want to help you, but it's often very difficult for us to do it when there are a lot of comments coming in like this. Don't DM us. Our DMs are overrun, but there is a place where you can learn crypto. You can go deeper with us or get started. Some people think we're really just here to teach people the basics, but frankly, I wouldn't trust anybody like I'd trust Alex or Will or many of the folks in our community who are like solid crypto users at level 4 and 5. You know what I mean? We have friends of the show there. And the only thing missing, I often say, is you. The URL is community.rumshq, RUMSHQ, like Rise Up Morning Show, HQ.com. Community.rumshq.com. The only thing missing is you. And if you can't remember that, don't fret, don't sweat. Wherever you are, whenever you listen, it's at the link in our bio. Just give it a tap. You'll be in a second. You can introduce yourself and start chatting with a community of helpful crypto users at all levels of experience from around the world, including me and Alex. We would love to see you there. And especially you, user. If you think you've been scammed, we have a lot of friends who've recovered from the scams and schemes that take advantage of even very, very smart people in our space. We don't want to see you be a victim again. You need friends using crypto to help you. What are you smiling at, Alex? Saw you cheesing.
You want to see it? It's not done, so it leaves a little to be desired, but you can see kind of the basic.
Come on, man. Come on, show it to me. Don't tease me like that. Let me see it. Hang on. Here we go.
All right, so I'll back it up here.
Yeah, you will. Back it up.
From the all right, settle down. Someone in podcast land is getting hot and bothered.
Yeah. If you want to see this, you got to go to YouTube. It is pretty hot and bothersome.
I'm going to put this in light mode against my better judgment.
Oh
so it
my
shows up
gosh.
a
Wow.
little better. Okay, so if you come over here to practice, these are all of the simulators so far. So there's a wallet, send and receive. The sandbox is just like a place where you can go trade spot. And then there's the leverage sandbox. And then there's like a DEX swap simulator. There's a staking simulator, and there's a centralized exchange withdrawal simulator. So if you go to leverage, you can select. So you have an account balance that it starts you off with. And then there's, you can pick between isolated and cross margin. So we'll just say isolated. And then
just so you know, everybody, the difference is cross margin means all the money in your account gets taken if you get liquidated. So it's, a strategy, but watch out.
And then you pop into this whole deal. So you have two options. You can either long, which would be buy, or you can short, which would be a sell. So basically, this was something that I have had trouble with, like visualizing before. So trying to like make it a little bit more on the nose. But if you wanted to open a long position, and right now there's no assets loaded, we just sort of have this like mysterious phantom asset that costs $50,000 right now. And so effectively what we would be doing is we're entering the asset with a purchase at $50,000. We're going to buy $5,000 worth of it at 10x leverage. So that's where we get our position value. And then I'm sorry. We're at 5,000 with 10x leverage, meaning that we're only putting in 500. And then it kind of has these couple little deals over here, and I want to clean this up a little bit because I think I want to have like little tool tips where, you know, where you hover, it gives you a little bit more information, and there's like some pop-up things that you can click on to get more definitions. But anyway, bear with me. And then you would be able to just open the position and kind of watch and see what happens. I have no clue what's going to happen with this particular asset because it's not real and it doesn't. We're not tracking the real price of anything. But the next iteration will have, you know, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, and a few other classics.
Can I make a suggestion for the next iteration? I really like this as a teaching interface. I would love to have a simple mode, a learning mode, and an advanced mode for leverage. And the advanced mode should look like Hyperliquid, or it should look like Binance Perps, because this is so much like, I wish every Perpetuals protocol would offer like a training wheels mode, and then it would look like this, and it would be understandable with little clickovers. That's the other thing, is I'd love to have little clickovers with an eye. I know you've got it right here, but
definitely,
dude, yeah, they need to be able to see like the actual version of what they're going to get to, the one that makes me even go like, the hell am I supposed to use this thing? You know what I mean? Every training interface ever makes me feel like, who designed this and why do they hate us?
A lot of notes too. I'm trying to put more and more of these in, these just like little tidbits, you know. So use a stop loss, don't risk more than, you know, whatever. Remember, leverage amplifies your losses just as much as it does your gains. It takes a lot less to lose more when you're trading with leverage too. So anyway, there's the newest simulator to catch up with the rest of these. These are all a lot more built out and stuff, but we're getting there. And then I'm gonna cut this off here. Yep,
I already got it. Thank you very much.
The other cool thing, which I told Evan about, that I added, which I'm very proud of, is you now have the ability to save your progress without having to give me any of your personal information. And it's very geeky, but I'm pretty excited about it. So basically what happens is you can generate a private key on Basecamp and then save it and use it at any other time in the future to re-upload your particular session that you were in the middle of doing. So if you are trading something and you have to leave, but you don't want to start over, when you come back, you can export the private key for that session. And then the next time you come back, it will have cleared and wiped, but you can re-import that key again and get your session back. And it's completely anonymous. There's no need to leave your email. You don't need to leave your name. I don't need to know anything about you to do it. I generate the key and give it to you, and then you bring the key back and it's your session again. It's also cool because Evan could set up a session like with a very particular set of training parameters and then give anyone the key, and they could go in there and try to like correct it. And I thought it would be fun to do like a quest where like we get a position like deep in the hole with bad leverage and then have like a competition to try to recover the position, and whoever recovers it like the best. And we could share that to as many people as possible. Yeah,
that would be really fun.
I just have to figure out how to do that with multiple people, because right now it's all the same key. And so if we give the one key out to like 1,000 people, then everyone would get the same session, and then everyone's changes would be reflected to everyone else. So I gotta fragment that, or figure out how. But anyway, that's what I'm working on.
Alex, and once again, if you want to try Alex's Basecamp app, then jump into the Rise Up community. As he deploys new versions, he is sharing it there. And we have a little bit of chatter about how you can build your own vibe-coded cool apps and tools using Replit, other such stuff in the Rise Up community at community.rumshq.com. Alex, it seems like a good point in time to shout out our friend and partner of the show, the White Whale, because some folks wanted to know how the White Whale, who uses cross-margin leverage as part of their trading strategy and had some long positions open, fared over the weekend. And though the White Whale, like many other traders, experienced significant losses on Hyperliquid, I do think they are a great example of how to recover. The reminder is ever present on their profile that trading and life are about your mindset. And I'm really proud of them for taking a big loss and then being able to walk away. We sometimes talk about how if you crash a plane, you got to be able to walk away. Any plane, what's the saying? The best plane crash is any plane crash you walk away from, right? And I mentioned the White Whale mostly to say, if you want to follow the White Whale and see how they are rebuilding from the setback, get mindset tips, trading tips, etc., then now you got to follow the White Whale V2. Used to be the White Whale HL, but they made a tweet post that said that their blue check is gone for a little bit due to changing their handle. They are no longer the White Whale HL. They are the White Whale V2, not only for the reboot story, meaning the comeback, but also because I should have listened to my mentor before creating this page and never married my name to a protocol. Whoever that is, they gave him really good advice. You don't want to be Evan Mann, TikTok, Alex Popovich, Georgia. No. We're worldwide, baby. This is an international thing, and I am glad that the White Whale, as they recover, is swimming to deeper waters. So check out the White Whale V2 if you want a great account to follow for no hype, helpful crypto stuff from the perspective that only a whale could give. And thank you, the White Whale, for being a part of this show. We love you. Can't wait to see where you go next. Alex, it's almost time, but not quite, to do dogs and ponies. And since we had a little disruption in the middle of the show, I feel like we got to get back on track and maybe answer some questions. The last reminder I want to give people is that we are going to be live at the top of the next hour with our friends at Octant, giving a how to succeed on TikTok talk. So if that's something you're curious about, interested in, how do you beat the TikTok algorithm, then come check out the expert panel that is being assembled by Octant at Octant app on X. I think they're going to stream it to YouTube, and maybe I'll broadcast it to TikTok since we're talking about TikTok. We'd love to see you there.
Yeah, it would be crazy if you didn't.
Dude, right? Could you imagine? A stream about how to crack the TikTok algorithm, but not on TikTok?
That would be super on brand for Twitter, though.
That would be super on brand for Twitter, but we're not going to let it happen. Where do you want to take this? What are the folks saying?
Everyone's just telling me that the Basecamp is the single most incredible thing they've ever seen. That's the only comment. It's weird. No questions, nothing else.
Oh my gosh.
This is a gross misrepresentation of the facts.
Okay, well, it's true.
CryptoBoat says, whales, dolphins, penguins, how do we explain this to our friends?
You can't.
Nope.
So, you absolutely can't. And I like C. Vicious said, Mr. Worldwide, dog. We are worldwide.
For the people asking about trying the Basecamp out, it's just a demo, but the demo is live in our Circle community. So community.rumshq.com. You can try it out. And actually, the more people who try it, the better, because it's a demo. So it's in like pre-alpha at this point, and there's lots of broken things, and feedback is extremely helpful and wonderful.
And I want to shout out our friend Tech CEO who's in the comments, who is also building a pretty incredible app to help people get in touch with better information about AI and crypto. The Crypto and AI Directory. Let me tell you, or excuse me, it's AI and Crypto Directory. What is it with me and saying things wrong? This really is a fake radio show, man. The AI and Crypto Directory at Tech CEO's profile is also quite impressive and is accepting contributions from people like you. If you've got a cool AI tool, check it out. Alex, how was Pirate Fest? That's what one wants to know. Are there pirates everywhere?
So despite the fact that it was windy and rainy and cold the entire time, the pirates were out. The parade was pretty short. I didn't go to a ton of the satellite events because most of them are just drinking in different locations, which, I don't know, not my cup of tea. But the little festival ground, it was pretty cool. There was pirates everywhere. You know what the coolest part is how hard so many people go on their costumes. It's not like Party City pirate costumes for the most part. There's definitely some of those, but dude, some people you're like, oh wait, you look like this is just the way that you are all the time. I think it's the excuse for a lot of people to role play pretty intensely. There was some very impressive costumes, but no, it was cool. It was a lot of fun.
I can't wait to partake.
I know you would have been right at home, dude.
I cannot wait to partake. If you want to go to Rise Up IRL on Tybee Island, we're doing it Pirate Week 2026. Mark off your calendar in October.
For real. Yeah. Rise Up meeting at Pirate Fest 2026.
Also, another bit of news that I really would like everybody to help us with. I don't think we've announced it on the air. Is we are so pleased to welcome our longtime friend and sometimes collaborator to become an official collaborator. I'm talking, of course, about Torii. Torii Stories, Torii in the chat, Torii in the community, has agreed, I'm so glad, to come give us a little operational help at the Rise Up Morning Show. Thanks to all of our partners. Thanks to the fact that we didn't blow it all on perps. We are able to scrounge up some money to make our first hire. And I couldn't be more thrilled to say that it's Torii. So Torii, 3 cheers for you. Hip, hip, hooray. We are so grateful to you for all the work you've already done and cannot wait to get you on board to make everything we do even better. We often say it, you are the best part of what we do, but really, Torii's one of the people I'm thinking about when I say that, because it's true. She's really fantastic. If you don't know Torii, she's in the comments everywhere, and it's just...
Torii's as close to patient zero as possible. One of the original people who watched when it literally was the fakest radio show ever, and it's just me and Evan talking to each other.
And even before we had a radio show, Torii was there,
Yep.
Really, truly.
True.
So thank you, Torii. Can't wait to start working with you. And you will certainly see improvements to the community, the show.
Thank God you're here, Torii, to be honest.
Yeah. Homer says, he said earlier, Basecamp is the best thing I've ever seen. And then he said, Basecamp is second best next to Torii.
Thanks, Torii.
I got to agree. And also, I really like Crypto Boat's comment, who said, I used to live in Savannah. Those folks be drinking.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's a much smaller city than the other big destinations for stuff like St. Patty's Day, but Savannah goes real hard on St. Patrick's Day.
They do go real hard. And someone asked, Boosh said radio show. If you don't know, Rise Up is available on every social media platform where you are when you listen and on demand. Okay, your favorite podcasting app, Spotify, iHeart, Apple Podcasts, that's where I like to listen. We are there. We've got playlists on YouTube. The whole goal is that this would not die with us. We've got, the morning show. We got After Dark. We got Market Watch tonight at 7 p.m. with Will and Doug, a.k.a. Von, a.k.a. Bathroom Guy. And we want you to share this show with your friends that ask you about crypto. You know how it makes your palms sweaty? We want you to feel confident doing it, but also in the meantime, that's what we're here for, guys. So if you didn't know that, we're a real fake radio show on every platform except maybe broadband and FM, but we're working on it.
Mm-hmm.
We got a great question from Rada, Alex. Can you explain the difference between staking and farming, please?
Yeah, hell yeah. Oh, sorry. Were you throwing that to me, or were you going to take it?
When I said, Alex, can you explain, what I meant was, I would like you to answer this question.
Yeah.
I can do it.
Okay. So I'm thinking of the simplest way to do this. Okay. So I'll start with farming because it's kind of it's a much broader term. Farming in crypto is the practice of finding new and exciting and the most efficient and the most profitable ways to take your assets and use them to earn more assets. Generally speaking, it's the practice of finding new and creative ways to earn interest on your stuff, whether that is a stablecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, anything in between. That's the kind of the practice of farming. There are lots and lots of different ways to farm. You can stake as one method of farming. Staking has a lot of complicated stuff happening on the back end, but from the user's perspective, the general experience is that you commit some of your crypto to a relevant blockchain, and in return, the blockchain rewards you with more of that crypto. The things that you're helping that blockchain do are, most simply put, function.
Yeah.
You're helping it approve transactions. You're helping it verify that information on the that's being submitted is correct. You're helping it be more secure and be more resilient against attacks. You're helping it be more decentralized. All of these things. And in return for you doing that for the chain gives you a reward. It gives you more of the currency that you are staking. So you help out, you earn interest. Farming, like I said, is a more broad and general term. I am currently farming interest on my USDC on DeFi Carrot because eat your veggies. And because the interest is great and the experience was very easy. There's lots of different places that you can bring your stablecoins to farm interest. And depending on which asset you have, if it's not a stablecoin, there are tools like DeFi Llama where you can go and look up any asset and see where it's possible to farm that asset and earn interest on it some other way. So to recap, staking is a specific kind of farming wherein you commit your crypto to help the blockchain be better, and in return you earn some interest paid to you in the same currency that you're staking, more often than not. Exceptions exist to everything. Worry about that later. And then farming is just the practice of finding great places and ways to use your assets to earn more assets.
That was beautiful. Alex, check this out. We got Palmer in the audience, who I know is a legit farmer. So I want to remind people that farming is exactly what it sounds like. You are planting seeds to grow crops and yield a return. The same way I might put a potato in the ground to get more potatoes, I am taking assets to do something with them to generate more of the assets. I might be lending. I might be staking. I might be doing some other kind of thing in decentralized finance. But the whole thing is you're putting a seed in the ground in order to get a yield. That's farming.
I thought you just dinged yourself and then stood up to walk off screen.
Like a mic drop. No, I think Kim is
That's
vacuuming.
farming.
My allergies are going nuts. Yeah, baby. Mic drop. Sorry for everybody.
Good
I am
question.
a farmer in two ways now, Bearded says. Love it.
Amen.
You got a question, you said. Throw
No,
it
I
at
said that was a great question.
No, it was a great question. And I did see another one, and I have already lost it. I'm so sorry to say. If you've got a question, we've got a couple more minutes. It's just about that time to ride our dogs and ponies into the sunset, but we can absolutely do a couple of rapid fire questions before we go. And I would like to say, Alex, you mentioned DeFi Carrot, but if somebody is interested in getting into yield farming, I'm going to tell them DeFi Llama is a great place to go because it'll show you a lot of places to catch yield. And I want to shout out our friend Will, co-host and colleague. He is on the road to the dentist, getting his pearly whites fixed. So, or not fixed, just maintained, I'm sure. He just posted a video giving you a quick and dirty overview. It'll be easy to find in his profile. It's coin_guide on all platforms. I think it's CoinGuideWW on Twitter, but he just posted a super helpful, quick, you need this website in your crypto tool belt, DeFiLlama.com. It's great. Sido Sakwa wants to know, does Pi count as farming, the mining? Technically,
Technically.
yes. Would you farm Pi, Alex? And
No.
and what's our hesitation there?
Doesn't do anything for me. I don't know. There are a million different things that you can technically earn interest on, but the ultimate question is kind of like, hey, just because you can earn interest on it doesn't mean that it's good. It's kind of it's like the question, is every NFT valuable? No, not if it's an NFT of something stupid and pointless. And Pi is I can't care about it. It was a nonsense data farm that they rewarded you in a currency that they made up out of thin air for no reason. It definitely accrued some value because a tremendous number of people decided that they wanted to be data farmed in return for this nonsense currency. And now that it's live and launched, the only thing you can really do with it is sell it or hold it forever. No one's really put anything in that ecosystem or built anything there. So I don't know. There's just absolutely no reason for me to care. There's nothing interesting happening there. You can buy it and you can sell it. And it's just very Ponzi. It's very Ponzi, and it was built on the back of just farming you for data on an app that you gave way too many permissions to. Generally speaking,
any like mine it on your phone cryptocurrency that starts as a token distribution for the purpose of just like, you are the customer kind of thing, free money someday, is not a good trade of your time or your attention. I don't recommend it. Good question though, and thank you for asking. Do we stake, Alex? They want to know.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the complimento.
I do. Not a tremendous amount, but if there's a blockchain that I use regularly, then I stake. If it is proof of stake, then I would stake to help support it. So I stake both Ethereum and Solana and Polygon.
I participate in staking on, right now, the Linnea network. And I was staking some ETH there because there was an incentive program before their airdrop, kind of like what we did with Katana, putting up some collateral to seed liquidity and get some extra tokens. And I think I've got, I don't know, like $50 extra or something above like the 2 or 3% I would get staking ETH. But you know what? That's 2 or 3% I wouldn't have had before.
Yep.
It's about the same return, honestly, a little better than like a high yield savings account.
Yeah.
And it's liquid crypto money that I could take out a loan on, that I could do other DeFi stuff with. And I'm just glad to do my part to secure the network. Someday I'd like to run a validator node for Ethereum. And speaking of nodes, Alex, we got a guest on the show tomorrow.
We do.
We're going to have Perk Insights from TikTok. She has been helping to demonstrate the process of securing the Bitcoin network by setting up your own node, answering a lot of Bitcoin questions. And I just don't see anybody else posting content about that on like Web2 social media. And she's just very nice. Doesn't seem to have much of an ego about it. Is just putting it out there. And so we wanted to have her on the show. There are a lot of important conversations happening in the Bitcoin community specifically right now that affect everyone in crypto. And I think it'll be great to get her take on that and also have her help answer your questions about how these things work, validating, staking. I think it'll be really good. Rada wants to know, does Hyperliquid have staking?
Mm-hmm.
Are they a proof of stake network?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Really?
Yep. Delegated proof of stake.
Must be delegated because my understanding is that they only have 2 full validator nodes, both of which they totally control. So
yeah, that I don't know.
Time, but
yeah, the point is that yes, you can delegate your hype to one of them.
I can delegate my hype.
Amen.
Yeah.
Evan, for final thoughts, do you want to? I'm going to force you to answer a question for your final thought.
Oh no.
Yes, it's a great question. It's been a minute since we've given our concise thoughts and answer to it, but
to anything.
Best way to get it. Yes. When have we ever given a concise thought on anything? Well, hey, you know what? Bad news. It's a talk show, and we both yap. This was the perfect job that I fabricated for myself as an excuse to never shut up. Sorry about it.
Just a moment of silence.
The question.
For brevity.
The question Pause for effect. The question is best way to get into crypto. And actually, I've seen two others in the past little bit here just say, I'm new. What's the best place to get started? So, Evan, I feel like this is one that we've answered about 100,000 times, and every time we try to walk it to be a little bit more thorough but concise.
Yeah.
What would you say?
The best way or the simplest way?
I think that I would rephrase it to say, if you knowing what you know now, if you were going to get started.
Yep. If I was going to get started knowing what I know now, I would open a Coinbase account. Like Kenny in the comments says, if you think their buy fees are high, wait until you try to sell. But despite the drawbacks of centralized exchanges, I would start there. If you can't access Coinbase, try Kraken. If you can't get Kraken, try Binance. That would be the three places I would go to start. I would buy some stable coins, a token that is pegged to a currency like the US dollar. 90% plus of stable coins are dollar tokens. So USDC, USDT, whatever your platform's preferred stable coin is, Google it if you have to. Buy $10. And then I would Google crypto wallets. I would get a wallet from any legitimate company, and I would work to learn to send that token, that stablecoin token, to a wallet. And then from that wallet back to my exchange, Binance, Coinbase, Kraken, and practice sending it back to my bank, turn it into cash by selling it. Like all those things, those are the core foundational skills you're going to need. Along the way, you're going to learn about seed phrases, self-custody. You're going to learn the difference between a wallet and an exchange. You're going to learn about different cryptocurrency networks. You're going to learn a lot of stuff that's going to set you up for success. And like in terms of like hours to benefits spent and earned, that's probably the best thing you could do. And then my extra alpha would be jump in a community. Ours is the best. But you should be in a room of experienced crypto users who are not going to try and like sell you a thing. There are a lot of like token communities out there. You buy a meme coin and then everyone's in the room hyping this particular token up. That's not the kind of place you want to be. You want to be in a place where people are gathered to learn generally. You got some XRP users, you got some Bitcoin users, you got some builders, you got some skeptics even. That's a good place for you. And I'll give the links one more time at the end, but now back to you, Alex.
Yeah, I would say the only steps I would probably add to the beginning are this is a space, this is an industry with a tremendous amount of jargon and a whole lot of new words that we've created to describe things that didn't exist before. And I think the most useful thing you can do in the beginning is just to start learning those words. I think the best way to sort of give yourself a list to learn is to start with one piece of reading and just kind of highlight all the words that you don't recognize. And then every time you look up one of those, you'll find 10 more that you don't recognize, so on and so forth. And the most important thing you can do is just be able to participate in the conversations. So most important skills, in my opinion, knowing the jargon, speaking the language, understanding how to get information from a blockchain. So I still maintain that the most valuable skill you can have is how to read a blockchain explorer. And then I would agree. I think you get an exchange account and you set yourself a learning budget. I think you learn how to create a wallet, and then you learn how to do the things associated with having a wallet, receiving transactions, sending transactions, approving a swap, stuff like that. And then you pick some sort of decentralized protocol, whether it's a DEX, a decentralized exchange, whether it's an NFT marketplace, whether it's anything else. It really doesn't matter. And just, familiarize yourself with the concept of connecting your wallet to it and then doing whatever happens on that platform. Practice, repetition, practice makes perfect. Get used to things that are interesting. There's a lot of new skills that you simply just need to build up some muscle memory for. So
it's beautiful but concise final thought. Thank you for the question. If you need a question, oh my God. If you still have questions, if you need a community of crypto users, we think you should join ours. It's community.rums HQ. The only thing missing is you, and Ethicalish said it in the comments. It's the place where everybody knows your name and they're always glad you came. You know what I mean? Might be one of the best theme songs in television history. Definitely the top 5. They didn't write it about us, but they could have. They really, really could have. So get in the community, share your questions, your comments, your good jokes, your words of wisdom, your 8-ball predictions there. My 8-ball says, buy the dip. And we will be back first tonight. Will and Doug will be back on Market Watch, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And morning show will be back 7 a.m. same time, same place tomorrow. But don't forget, wherever you are, whenever you listen, we're live on your favorite platform. And you can get the links to all those socials at RUMSHQ.com. Until next time, everybody, thank you for being the very best part of what we do. Stay safe. Be well, my friends. Rise up.